first big one is the experimental card. So you said good things about this. Do you want to go ahead and
Phenomenal.
how do you feel?
I thought, so yeah, the PTR mode I think is already a pretty good idea to have in the game. The problem is some people don't ever go into the arcade. So the fact that it's an actual card at the opening, when you open Overwatch, it's one of the first 5 things you see under play. Great thing.
Yeah, I think it's good because like I mean, we play on PC, so I've had access to the PTR for a long time now, but I just didn't feel like installing it because it was a big waste for me. All right, let's move on to the next point. Change in balance philosophy, where they're more frequent, more aggressive, more willing to revert changes, take risk. I think this is good. This is a good step.
That sounds like the Valve update. So they did that with CS. There's an item that's really good. You know what we do? We make it unusable.
So that's the scary thing that I was thinking about is that you might just end up with like a couple heroes that are really good, and then they nerf those guys to the ground where they're unplayable, and then the next set of heroes becomes really good, and they repeat the process over and over again. It's very similar to Valve's because like Dota's the exact same way. Dota will, have a meta, and then they will obliterate the meta by nerfing those guys to the ground over like a series of patches, and then eventually they'll be unplayable, and then something else becomes meta. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it keeps it spicy. I think it's good. I think it's good for the game. Better than what it has been, where it's like a bland, double shield or even
One dive.
Yeah, right, exactly. So like if they're more aggressive with it, you'll have like at maximum like a month of a certain meta, and I think that's really good. Targeting the meta. The only thing I kind of am concerned about is there are certain things that are broken in lower tiers that are just not usable in higher tiers. Like a good example of this would be Reaper. Like Reaper's really good in the like lower tiers, like anything under plat. But then like you get up to Grandmaster and you can't play Reaper or you're throwing. So I wonder how that will be. And Moira, yeah. Like Moira won't get you past Diamond. Yeah, I don't know. I think it'll be interesting. I'm curious. I want to see how this plays out because they say they're more aggressive and more frequent, but like that wouldn't actually take much to be more frequent, right? Like how often has their patches been where it's like big hero updates? It's like once every couple of months, and then it's just a couple changes. So now if they did once a month patch, that would technically be more frequent.
They'll be able to tell which heroes are the most broken by hero pools.
Well, I think if they just take the top 5 most played characters and ban them, that really only affects. So the thing I thought about this is like, are they going to take like the top 5 or top 6 most played characters, or are they going to take like 2 from each type, right? Like 2 from damage.
I think it'll be 1 tank, 1 support, and 2 DPS.
Well, when Jeff talked about it in the video, he said that like if he was going to do a one like at the moment, he gave an example and he said it was going to be Sigma, Orisa, May, who was the other, McCree, and then like Baptiste or something. He said those would be the 5 that were out of the hero pool, which kind of concerns me because there's like twice as many DPS as any of the other roles, and then so like the DPS characters could probably 1 trick or at least like 2 trick into whatever, and then tanks have to learn every tank and the supports have to learn every support.
That's why I think the best outcome is 1 tank, 1 support, and 2 DPS.
Yeah, I think that's good. I think it should be very frequent that they change that. I think whenever they change a hero, they should probably take him out of the hero pool just to see how it plays on like quick play. I think that's a good idea because they do that with new characters they introduced in Dota. Before they balance a hero, they take him out where he can't be used in competitive. And then after he can't be used in competitive, like even when he can be used in competitive, they won't always let him be used in captain's mode, which is what they use for tournaments. So it's like a gradual process of a hero being introduced. And I think if they ever make any changes with a different character or a different hero, then they should probably take them out of the pool, at least for a little bit. Or whenever they introduce a new one, don't put them in the pool immediately. I mean, it's kind of similar to what they do at the PTR, right?
Yeah. I'm just interested to see how they're going to take out 4. Are they going to take out, let's say they take out 4 as a number. Are they going to just take out the 4, like the most played tank of that week, the most played support, and the 2 most DPS of that week? Because if they do that week by week, it's going to be like every other week Reinhardt's going to be out of the pool.
Yeah.
Every other week Moria's going to be out of the pool. Because if you go to Overbuff and you look at like the hero stats of this week and most played, if you look at bronze, silver, and gold, you see Moira and you see Reinhardt as the top 2.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so let's see.
And obviously the most players are in gold.
So I figured they would just look at Grandmaster, right?
They probably should.
That's kind of what it sounded like.
It's
Yeah.
not going to affect the lower ranks at all very much.
Right.
Like Baptiste, sure, people play Baptiste at lower ranks.
Yeah.
I don't see Sigma very often. Orisa, we don't see as often. We don't see Wrecking Ball hardly
But
ever.
I mean, these top 4 pick rates are insane, right? Like, what's the average pick rate? How many heroes are there in Overwatch? But no, in Grandmaster, it's so much stronger, right? So, like, you have 10% in Reinhardt in Gold, and then 14% of Baptiste in Grandmaster, which is, like, insane. And then coupled with this really high win rate.
It will be interesting to see how they decide to, since the metas are so, there's not really a meta in low rank. It's just, like I've said this before, for a lot of silver players, if you just have a team comp that works together, you'll rank up because, we'll get games where it's like a Reinhardt Winston. It's like, what are we doing?
Right.
Whereas
But
Grandmasters, comps always work together usually.
yeah. Yeah, like Reinhardt Winston works if you know how to play either one of those characters, right? Like, it doesn't take a lot to carry a silver game or a gold game, theoretically.
But if you see, like a Winston Reinhardt and a Grandmaster, probably not going to work out too well.
Right.
So I'm interested to see how they choose the heroes to ban based off of, are they doing it by the majority of players? Because if you go to all, you can see, you see three
That's right.
sports in the
Yeah.
top 5. Or are they going to choose Grandmaster games, which won't really affect gold and below?
I would assume, because it sounded like the way when he says attacking the meta, that sounds like he's attacking Grandmasters, right? Like, he's not worried about bronze, silver, gold. They're gonna have to figure it out on their own. So then, what heroes are taken out would be dependent on what's in Grandmaster.
I guess that is a good point because I mean, even in gold games, it is kind of random. You see a lot of different stuff. Whereas Grandmasters, it is the same 6 to 8 characters.
Yeah, well, it's pretty much pick the same 6 or you're throwing.
Bastion
Bastions.
has 0%.
Yeah, and then like if you pick Symmetra Reaper, you're actually throwing.
Yeah.
I guess. I mean, 42% win rate on Bastion, but how do they have all positive win rates? Roadhog is a throw pick, I would say.
Grandmasters, that's how.
Yeah, I guess they get away with it because they're Grandmasters and they know what they're doing. But I think yeah, it's definitely interesting how often. Yeah, because like if they were to pick 5 right now and they just picked the top 5, Baptiste, Orisa, Sigma, Hanzo, Zenyatta, and that was it. Would Ball become the meta? Or like, would the next 5 just become meta? Ball, Lucio. I mean, Ball and Reinhardt don't work well together. But Reinhardt and then whichever tank is next. Well, interesting Winston's up there. I don't know, it would make it at least not stale for the Grandmasters.
That is true.
So I think that's...
But it's same thing, right? Baptiste is going to be in 1 week, out the next week, in 1 week, out the next week, because he's that strong.
Well, then they would see that, and then they would just nerf him to ground, right? Like, they would fix something.
They literally just need to take away his immortality field. I think he will always be useful with an immortality field.
I mean, it was a cheating death, right, has always been broken in this game. That's why the Moth meta was so important when they just had Mercy. Here.
Oh, the double res. Let's get back to that meta.
Or even like 5-man res is like when the Mercy first came out, and she was like that for a long time. Yeah. So like even now with just one res, it's still very powerful to have a Mercy on your team. So I think, yeah, those abilities are always dangerous, and then they just give it to Baptiste where it's just an E, and that has a 15-second cooldown. I mean, if they gave it, a 30-second cooldown or something even stronger.
25 seconds, actually.
Is it 25? Wow. So,
but
yeah, I don't know.
The point is you never really have to use it until an ult is used. So the fact that you're countering an ultimate ability with just a 25-second cooldown
is incredible, yeah.
I could show you a replay of a game I played yesterday. We got 5-man grabbed, and then Hanzo shot his dragon. I put my Baptiste lamp right as soon as the dragon touched us, and we all lived. And I was playing the game.
But maybe the argument should be that there should be abilities that counter that, right? Because like the alternative here, if you don't have abilities that counter that, then all you have to do is press Q to win, right? So this at least has counterplay. But if he's gonna be that powerful, then why shouldn't everybody else be that powerful? Like, shouldn't all the supports, like Zenyatta, his ult would stop that. Baptiste is just a Z. So maybe 25-second cooldown, which is just incredible. I mean, that's at least once a team fight.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, because I mean, at lower ranks they kind of just throw it out and they don't recognize how important it is. Like the moment I see a Baptiste throw that out, I'm like, okay, I can use this now.
Right.
I can use my abilities now.
So that's interesting. Yeah, I think if they took him out and then they nerfed him and then they left him out until they came back from the nerf, like they balanced him based on quick play statistics, that would be a step in the right direction.
this recent nerf to him, just it wasn't that much. Like, sure, he doesn't shoot as fast now, but that's not
What was the
that's
change
not
to
why he's.
him?
It was he shoots from every like 0.35 seconds to 0.45 or
Right.
something like that. That's not going to change a whole lot.
Right. So recovery time was increased on his primary fire, and then his secondary fire was reduced for healing. So he does a little less healing, but that wasn't like the problem, right? Like his E is just too powerful. Yeah. So I guess that's it. I mean, this should hopefully fix it because I mean, even if it wasn't Baptiste, there's another hero that's like that, right? Like Orissa's pool is why she's powerful because it's so strong when used with coordination. And Sigma's just all around. All of his abilities are nuts if you use them properly. Yeah, so I guess they either nerf. Yeah, they hopefully they take some time. Again, that's something we'll have to see in the future, right? Like we're not gonna immediately see the effects of this, and they might still be slow. I mean, it doesn't sound like they hired any extra people for this. It's just the same development team. They're just like, oh, we're gonna actually make changes now. Like, why haven't you been doing these for the last 4 years? I don't know.
So it'll basically feel different for the top players, but for the bottom casuals, it'll feel about the same. That's kind of what.
Except there's a downside for the casual players, right? Like there's the players who pick one hero, right? Like if I just played Reinhardt or I just played D.Va, and then she get pulls out of the hero pool, and I don't know how to play any other hero, and I don't want to learn any other hero, so then I just go to quick play,
Yeah,
and then or I quit Overwatch until the pool comes back, right?
Yeah.
And that's frustrating but I mean. That was they said it's been a problem for a while. They wanted to get rid of one tricks, and I guess this is how they do it. If they rotate heroes out, then you can't one trick anymore. Anybody who one tricks.
Comfortable with playing. I have my philosophy since I started was get comfortable with playing like a couple classes from a couple different genres, like maybe a tank or two, maybe one support, maybe one DPS, two DPS.
Yeah.
Because then you'll always be able to play something. But
right.
This was obviously before role queues.
Yeah.
So you didn't know what the heck you were queuing into.
Right. So now I think you can stick to one role. You're just gonna have to learn at least a few characters in that role. I'd say at least 3 now, right? So like if 2 of them get taken out, you can at least solo one trick your way to victory. Assuming that 2 of them get taken out, which I see it's got to be difficult to have, like a tank and you take out more than one.
Because if you took out like you said, if you took out Sigma Orisa, then it'd be Rein Zarya everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Took out Rein
Zarya.
Well,
then your alternative here is Rein Zarya or Winston D.Va. Those are like your 2 options, and the Winston D.Va is just strictly worse than Rein Zarya.
That requires you to actually have DPS that dive with you, or
even just general coordination that you don't have in lower ranks. So even if it became popular in higher ranks, it wouldn't make any sense. I think these are good changes overall.